Let's talk about Wildcard Football. It's a new football game that came out a couple of months ago, and I've had my eye on it since it dropped from Saber Interactive, the same people who do NBA Playgrounds, and they're owned by a larger company, a company that seems like they have a lot of deep pockets, and they're a subsidiary to that company. And they did make a cool arcade game, kind of like NBA Jams, called NBA Playgrounds, right? So fast forward, and this game came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, I keep up with news and leaks that come out from football games, and this one, for some reason, it just came out of the blue. I don't know why. And I thought when I first saw it, I was very surprised because it was right around the same time that Legend Bowl was about to launch on consoles. And I heard about it. I saw Colin Kaepernick, and I said to myself, "Well, what is this game? And is this going to be a deep game, a game that's been worked on for years? Because we've heard nothing about it. There's been no news." And and I also know that the 2K's come out. They said back, I don't even know now. I think it's been at least 2 years that they mentioned that they're going to make a non-simulation football game. And then when this appeared, I'm like, well, wait a second. Is this that 2K product, right? Is this their arcade non-sim football game? And come to find out that it actually isn't. It's a different game that just, like I said, came out of the blue. And the surprise of the game was that it had the NFLPA license, which I thought was pretty interesting because that's not cheap to get. I have actually looked into it, and it costs a pretty penny to get anything that is NFL licensed in any manner, whether it be the logos, the teams, or the players themselves. And in this game, they actually got it. And if you've been following my channel for a long time now, you probably know that I have always, when I went off to begin working on Legend Bowl, my first thought, and I've always wanted this, was to make a game that looked like this game, right? That had the look and feel of a Super Mega Baseball type of game that is not, when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's a realistic game, but it actually plays realistic, and it feels very strategic and simulation type. And, when I started working on the design concepts for Legend Bowl, I thought to myself, well, man, I'd love to make a game that looks like this game. And what I would have done, I would have made it an 11-on-11 game. I would have made it a pure sim as much as I could, but I would have had it look like this. And the main reason why I didn't do it is really because I didn't have the skill or the budget, to be able to pull off a game like this. As one solo dev, it would have taken me years to make this game. And it's funny because when I first set off to make Legend Bowl, I thought it was going to take me 1 year. And little did I know that it literally probably has taken 7 years, so up to now, since I actually started working on that game. Somewhere around that time, I think it's been 6 years, 6 or 7 years, somewhere in that range. And there are a lot of iterations. I mean, when you're a solo dev, you got to worry about all of the coding, the design, the testing, the artwork, the sound, even the publishing. I self-published it to Steam, which you have to do trailers. I did some dev logs. I mean, there's a lot of time that goes into making a game, and when you're doing it alone, it can take forever. So I'm very, I'm very intimate with all of this stuff. I understand it, and back then I didn't realize how long it would take. Even though I worked in the IT field, we did web development, software development, and I was very experienced with that. And I always underestimated projects, just the way it is. Things always take longer. Bugs creep up. There are obstacles that get in the way. And then before you know it, your timeline slips and you get scope creep because some person wants to get a new feature, or, you break something in another module that conflicts, or there's always issues, even project planning, conflicts, and there's always something that delays projects, right? But with the game, I'm thinking, okay, I don't have the red tape. I don't have the corporate structure to get in my way. I can probably knock it out faster. So, I'm saying all of this to kind of tell you, when I saw this game, it reminded me of all of that. It reminded me of what I wanted to do. And Saber Interactive is, I would call it a AA/AAA. I mean, they're a pretty big studio. I don't know exactly how many people worked on this game. They don't really have, from what I saw on the internet, I couldn't find anything, any history or any information about the development of this. They didn't really do anything they kept it pretty close under wraps. And I don't know if that's because of the NFL license. I don't know why they did that. But for somebody like me who follows it all and is always looking for football games, I didn't hear about it. So they definitely kept it secret. And so I actually have been waiting to pick it up. I've thought about picking it up, but at the $39.99 price point, I didn't really want to spend the money. I didn't think the game was getting good enough reviews and people really weren't talking about it. So it went on sale this past week during Thanksgiving, and I picked it up. I bought it for $19.99, and I figured I'd support, non-Madden company and support a different game. But I also wanted to check it out and see what it had to offer because I didn't know how good it was. And this video is going to talk about the game a little bit. I've spent some time with it. I probably played it for a good, 4 hours or so. Not a tremendous amount, but enough to understand the gist of it and get an idea. And I've been following it as well, so I've seen reviews on it, and I know kind of where the game fits into the ecosystem of football games. And so, I picked it up, and this game I'm showing you here is probably my second or third game. I recorded a couple of clips, and they actually had I had the mic turned on, so there was just the audio was all messed up, so I couldn't use them. So I played some more and I recorded them, and this is a game, an exhibition. I think this is actually the training. This is the tutorial game, and they start going through all of the how to play the game basically. And I didn't do that the first time. I just started playing, and they did a pretty good job with the tutorial. I mean, they have a lot of pop-ups that you can see here that show you, and some of the things that they tell you are pretty simple and intuitive. They tell you how to, like when you pass, press the button for the receiver, and you can hold it down for a bullet pass, toss it, up high for a lob pass, just, tap it or whatever. And then they have things that get deeper, like they have these wild card card battle situations where you gain like energy during the game, and that energy allows you to spend points on cards, and those cards give you different abilities. Some of them will affect the skill or the speed of your players or their players or a certain position group. Some of them will just add these crazy effects where you can just, like there's one I saw where these rocks kind of come out of the ground and it blocks the pass in the air. There's one that there's like a sphere that goes around, like an orb that goes around you. Like, look at that. There's things that are going on there. And they show you, they can tell you, if you push a button, they can tell you the info for each one. But in short, I mean, there are all these cards that do different things to the actual play or the next play. There's one that moves the line of scrimmage back 5 yards, I believe. There are just a number of different things that add to, I guess, the current gameplay, right? And when I say add, I mean they affect it. And when I first put the game on, I turned them off because I really didn't want to play with these weird arcadey, cards. And so I wanted to play the game. I wanted to see what it was in its raw form and play it. And, for those of you guys who are simulation guys, like here, they just move the yardage back. For you guys who are simulation gamers, like I wanted to see is this Super Mega Baseball in a football form? Is it a game that really shows off simulation, or is it just an arcade game, right? Or is it just something in between? And so I turned the cards off when I first started playing it, and it felt really, really empty to me. It just felt like, so I don't know how many players are on the field. I guess 7 or so. I need to count them. 1, 2, 3. So there's 4 and 4, 8. Is it 8 that I'm looking at? So there are 8 players on the field, right? 1, 2. Let's count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so there's 7. So it's 7 versus 7. And so it's not a full sim. It's not 11 versus 11. The field looks like a pretty good size. The graphics are really, really good, by the way. I mean, if I have to to mention something that I thought was pretty positive were the graphics. I mean, everyone talks about the grass, and the grass is actually dynamic. It's 3D. I wish I could take this engine. It's an Unreal Engine. I wish I could take this project and build off of it and do something more with it. Look at the grass there. I don't even know how to do that. I've researched in Unreal and in Unity how to get grass to look like that, let alone the stadium environment. I mean, these environments are pretty beautiful, and they look very similar to Super Mega Baseball. So they did get that aspect down pretty well. And there's some cool environments you can play in. One's in a jungle, and they have different types of, I guess, settings or whatever, and weather conditions. And I don't know if it snows or not, actually, or rains, to be honest, but I think I saw a game in the rain. I can't remember, but the graphics are really good. And I just wish that, for me personally, I wish I could have that type of artwork and this type of, aesthetics in a game that I could make, and then I could take the game and make it what I would want, which would be more of a sim, right? All right, so let's get back to the game here. And basically, what I deciphered from the gameplay was, it felt like if you put 7 guys on a field and they can run around, they can dive, they can jump. It's very basic. The controls are very simple. You can juke with the right stick, and you could basically do these flip crazy moves. Like if you flip it forward or down or left or right, the guy jumps around. And tackling is very simple. Either you run into the guy and he tackles him, or you do I think you push X on the PlayStation and you do a dive tackle. And it's very simple, but it just feels like you put 7 players in the field, and they just run around, and there's no likability at all. The faces you can kind of make out who the players are. The bodies all look pretty similar. They're all very bulky. The different positions, like the lineman back there is heavier and bigger than the quarterback, and I think there's like 3 different body types from what I can tell. There's different heights from what I can tell, but I think there's just a few of these body types that they do. So it's not like they go inch by inch and they make these players, perfectly simulation and realistically, modeled. So, but they look cool. I mean, I think they look good enough. So I don't mind the graphics. The graphics are actually pretty good. And, some of the animations are good. Like right there, that's a pretty cool animation that he's showing where he's signing the football and throwing it off. And so there are neat things about the graphics. But when it comes back to the gameplay, I just feel like it seems very, very, very boring and simple. Like there's not a lot of depth to it. So you just run around and you throw the ball to someone. And even when you throw it, like I can go back all the way that far, 10 yards back, and I can throw a dime to the guy, and boom, he's got a touchdown. And it just feels very simple. I mean, that guy was wide open. And so it doesn't feel very strategic. Doesn't feel, even the playbook is limited. They're trying to make it more of an arcadey type of feel, right? So, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like NFL Street did, right? And this is kind of a rendition to NFL Street, where that game, I don't remember it as clearly as I did back when I played it, but I did play it, and it was fun. It just felt fun. There was something about it that felt like you wanted to keep playing it, and it just didn't feel so empty. Now, this is their first iteration. Will they come out with a second one? I don't know. I don't think the game's doing that well from what I can tell on the reviews and, looking at coverage online. And so I don't know if there's going to be a second version. And they did spend a lot of money on the license. I can guarantee you that. So, who's to say that it won't get better? But this version of it, it just feels empty. It feels like a sandbox. I feel like the cards were thrown in there as a gimmick to make you feel like it's something different than simulation football. And, maybe they had to do that. Maybe it was part of the deal that they had to make it to distinguish themselves far from Madden, right? But, you look at the players' faces and it's like, who's number 7 there? I can't even tell who that is. But they have like a card, just like Mutt, basically, where they have a Dream Squad mode where you can go in and create a team, and I did that. I just don't have the audio for it, and it's cool. You can make you can design your jerseys, your helmets, your colors, and you can start to pick up players based on unlocking cards, right? So they have the whole card system in the game, which I've never really been a fan of that myself. But I guess it's kind of cool. You open packs and you get these cards, and you might get certain players that fit your wish list of players, and then you can pick them up and you can trade and you can buy them. So there's like a kind of like a grinding mode where you can go in and play and just try to like there it has see how he had like the force field around him where no one can tackle him. And it seems kind of cool when you do it, but I don't know. Like for me, that's not what I want. I want a game that is more simulation based, right? I can't say it enough. I just want depth. I want strategy. I want teams to feel different. I want the X's and O's of the game to matter. I want you to go on the field and be able to pull off certain moves, and speed matters more so than like in this game, speed doesn't really feel like a thing. Even though speed's a very gimmicky thing, I want all the attributes, right? I want agility, I want strength, I want acceleration, different throwing mechanics, throwing power, right? Velocity, whatever. Like there's all the things. I'll go as deep as we can go with it. Like that's what I would want to do. And with this game, it's not that. And somebody might say, if you're watching, you might be like, hey, Havo, it's not a simulation, so just deal with that. And that's fine. But I don't think they do a good job with the arcade side of it. It's just not, there's something about it that feels very off. It feels like they prototyped it. They did like 25% of the work getting the gameplay to feel good, and they just left it. And I get it. I mean, I worked on Legend Bowl, and there was a period of time where the game felt very dry. It didn't feel like I was having fun. But then the more I added to it, the more I did to it, the more it became a rewarding game that felt like you wanted to get better. It felt like you wanted to improve your team and improve your stick skills and really, lean into it and try to grow your skill level. And in this game, I pretty much had it mastered after 2 games. Like, I know exactly what to do. I may not know all the cards and which cards kind of, are more advantageous or cheesy than other cards. But but in the end, even the cards don't even make sense. Like when I would pick a card, they put them up against each other. I mean, that was a cool play where the ball got tipped. That was one I saw out of how many plays. And again, I'm not trying to bash the game. It might sound like that. I just wished it had a whole different vibe to it. And I am trying. This isn't a review. These are just my impressions in case you follow me and you're a sim football gamer. How would you feel about buying this game? And I can tell you that just off of playing it for about 4 or 5 hours, I don't want to come back to it, right? Like it doesn't reel me in like NFL Street did. It doesn't bring me in like an NBA Jams did. It's just not that kind of a game. It doesn't feel fun on the field, like NFL Blitz at all. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels very, like I don't know, like I said, like it's there's something where it just feels like they didn't do enough. Like it was just a prototype that they just put a lot of pretty graphics around and a gimmicky, card matching mode. And a couple of modes. I think they have a season mode, then that Dream Squad mode. You can play online in the game, which I never tried because I don't have the online subscription for PlayStation. But in the end, it's almost like, man, I wish I could take this game and make it. I'd get rid of the cards. I would just put 11 players on the field. I would make the players feel more differentiated, where everybody looks and feels different. And I would just start to add more. I mean, I would want to make it a sim. Now, that's also been a problem for me, right? Because, Legend Bowl is kind of that game where it falls in between. It's a sim, but it's also arcadey in a sense. And I always want to lean towards sim. But if I was taking this game and trying to make it more of an NFL Street type of game, I would definitely work more on the animations and the player interactions. So like when you're running, you feel the speed of somebody and you can do a hurdle move or a spin move. And so add more moves into the game, add more of that strategy where if a guy's coming to tackle you, you can pull off a move, or they can pull off a great tackle. It just make it feel more lively, more realistic in that manner. But then you can add in the skills and the cool little boosts or whatever, and that's fine, right? I would add more to the customization, and I would make the game feel like you can really customize each player and just get more in depth with, get deeper with the control. I'd get rid of the cards. I'd probably have a franchise mode or some kind of a battle mode where you're taking your team through the streets and trying to beat everybody. But like I said, I haven't done any research on NFL Street just to kind of refresh my memory and what it did. But that game definitely just felt better. Now, it was a AAA game. I get it. Times are different now. People want different things now. But they can definitely. What I'm trying to say is, I would have taken out all of the gimmicks, all of the icing, and I would have focused on the gameplay. And until it felt fun, like to the point where and it's hard to do. I don't have a recipe. I don't have a magical, recipe for this. I just know that if the game felt really, really good on the field, then people would come back to it. I'd want to come back to it. And the modes would be, they would add to that. They would leverage that. They would improve the replayability of the game. But the gameplay itself, it would have had to have been intriguing, right? You would want to go and be like, man, I can't wait to get on the field again because it just feels good. And NFL Street did that. NFL Blitz did that. The games just felt more fun, and I had NFL Blitz for my arcade system so many years back, and I played it a little bit, and it just felt cool. Like it felt nice to know, like your superstars just felt like when you would have a certain QB, you just felt like you just had an advantage, right, or a disadvantage, or you had a certain running back or receiver. Like they were more overpowered. In this game, every team feels the same to me. The games I played, every player felt pretty much the same. I didn't feel a difference with Lamar Jackson versus Tua or Josh Allen. I didn't feel a difference between each player, and I would definitely lean more into that. Make each player feel like when you have Josh Allen, you can throw the ball deeper, you can throw it harder, you can maybe run more aggressively. When you have Tua, maybe you're just more of a timing passer and have better accuracy, and you could just use those, but also magnify them, right? Like take those skills and maybe give Tua some accuracy like boosts and make him throw things perfectly with timing routes, and just find a way to differentiate players. So when you pick a team, you actually feel like you have an advantage or a disadvantage, and that same thing goes for defense, right? If you have a pretty big sack guy like Von Miller used to be, right? But somebody who's a strong defensive player like Surtain, you can maybe get some kind of interception or boost, some kind of boost with ball hawk, whatever, with that player, right? Like you just feel, just feels like you have some reason to use them. And so I would definitely lean in on the gameplay and make it fun. And there's no recipe, like I said, but what you do is you start to do these things I'm talking about with the players, and you get the controls to feel better. Like even there where I like juke backwards, and these cut scenes I can't stand. They happen a lot. They just slow the game down. And I would just keep like carving and chipping away until the game feels addicting, right? It feels like you really want to go after it. Even the ball, when it gets thrown, it just feels slow for some reason. But it's a great, for me as a developer, it's definitely something that I am envious, that I wish I could pull off those graphics. I wish I had the budget, the team to do a game of this quality. Like even the menus, they have a lot of polish in the game. But like I said, the gameplay should have been, in my opinion, the most sought after thing that you do with the game. And this is the audio is going to cut out here for the game, but this is where I was working on that Dream Squad, and I was making my team. And it's a long video, so we're already 24 minutes in. So if you're still here, I appreciate you following along. But like, this is a casual impressions video of the game, and I haven't done one in a while, and I've been wanting to do this so I can share it with my guys and my people who watch my channel. But this is kind of cool. Like I kind of like this part of it where you can customize. As you know, Legend Bowl has a lot of that. That's something that's important to me to have in a game. But I wish that the game, you know, did more. It falls short in a lot of categories, and it doesn't make me want to go back to play it. I literally played it to give it more time. You know, when you unlock things in here, you'll unlock new logos, new gear, and I like that kind of stuff. I don't mind it, but it all comes back to the gameplay, right? If playing the game allows you to unlock things, which I love that, I do like that, or unlock players or build your team, all of that stuff is very, very, very cool. I like it. But if the gameplay is not good enough, then you're not going to want to go. It feels like you're just having to deal with and tolerate the gameplay just to get these unlockables. So they need to go back if they're going to make another version, you know, or if I had a game like this and I was going to make it more like an NFL Street arcade or Simcade, I would lean in, like I said, to the gameplay, because I've always felt like if the gameplay isn't good, nothing else matters. And, you know, even with Legend Bowl, you know, I'm working on College Bowl now, and I'm still thinking of ways to improve the gameplay because I know that there's a lot to improve, right? There's a lot that could be done. But the game is pretty good as it stands, but I always want more. And I'm definitely not giving up on the idea of one day doing a game that looks like this. I would love to do that. And I'm never going to give up on that idea because I would love to be able to do something like this and make it better. But I know it's a long shot because I'm only one person and I only have so many resources and time, and it's one of those dreams that I have that maybe one day, right? Maybe one day. But if you are in the market for a football game and you want to try something new, it was on sale. I don't know if it's still on sale now. I don't know. I think if you're bored and you have nothing else to play and you want to give it a shot and you have the money to spend, you know, it's up to you. I don't recommend it. I'm not going to be playing it anymore. I don't think the game has done enough to grasp my attention, and unfortunately so, right? Like I just wish it was a better game. But it is hard to make a football game. It's hard to make one that's good and plays well on the field. But that's where they have to go back and kind of just kind of hit it again and keep going after it until they found the right recipe. And in here, I'm actually building the Buffalo Bills. Like I actually put the team name in there, and it allowed it for some reason. I'm not sure if they should have been blocking that out, but I ended up making the Buffalo Bills as best as I can make them, and they looked okay. But the team that I got were just these random players that have, you know, you can't really even, you know, pick your players. You have to kind of earn them over time. But that's it. I mean, if you want to try it, go for it. I don't recommend the game. I don't even know if I can give it a score. I'm not trying to review it. I didn't play it enough to give it a fair score, but these are the stadiums you can play in. But my impressions are like, if the gameplay isn't good enough, it's going to kill any bit of interest I have in the game. And it's just not there yet. It's a half-baked, you know, game, and it just needs more time in the oven and needs to add more ingredients to it and make it a better product. So that's it. I wanted to share this with you guys. I've been wanting to do this for about a week now, and I finally got a chance to do it. So hope you enjoyed this long video. If you're still around, I appreciate the support. Look out for College Bowl. It is coming. It takes time, and I don't have any official dates or anything, but hang in there. It's going to be next year. It's probably going to be sometime, 2004, and I know it's a very general timeline there, but I'm not trying to do a sales pitch here, but I know you guys who are following me are interested in the game, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be a pretty solid game, so there's going to be more information coming out. I can't wait to share more with you, and we'll keep hitting it, and hopefully we can show you guys something soon. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.